So some details on the hip toss flexibility. When people do forward folds or they try to touch your toes, a lot of people round out their backs, and that's something you try to avoid. So what I mean by that is people think touching their toes is doing this. I have my shirt tucked in so you can see this rounding. You actually want to try your best to actually keep this just like you're doing a deadlift, right? So my spine is actually curled up. I have a neutral spine here, and I'm just trying to bend over to here. So my elbow's kind of touching my knees here. I can grab onto my toes and work that. People do things where they bend down and push up here, but notice how my upper shoulders are moving, but my lower back stays in that neutral position. I'm not doing this. One thing you can do is just let your body hang here. So my body's hanging like this. I'm sticking my butt out. I have that neutral spine. I'm doing that. My knees are bent. From here, you can just start working this motion here and just squatting and crouching and standing up. But notice how, as I do that, I'm not doing this. I'm just staying here. And over time, you'll get the flexibility of just maintaining that neutral spine and just straightening out your knees and pushing your hips back like that. And then if you imagine doing the throw, you have someone's here. I maintain that neutral spine as I enter my hip in. And then as I lift up, I'm not doing that, I'm still here. So my neutral spine stays like that the entire time. This is a good stretch for that too. One side to the other here. There can be a little rounding here just because you're in this position, but I'm still not doing that. I'm still here, actively flexing back. So now as you enter with your hip, notice how I'm still doing that motion there. So easy way to drill is just step forward, step behind with your back step. You bend your knees, and now maintain the spine right with the bend. You push it forward. I step forward, step behind, squat as I spiral to the floor. My feet unravel, and I'm still creating that spine. And I push back. So if I'm trying to enter in on somebody here, I have same side grip and I'm reaching around the hip. I step through and I'm spiraling, and notice again, I'm not pulling them like this and trying to unload them on top of me. I'm more trying to cut my hip line underneath his hip line and take his legs out from underneath him with the extension of my knees. So the difference between those two is you're not trying to do this. This is the wrong way to do it. I'm here, I try to pull and lift them over. Notice how there's a lot of this happening and my neutral spine disappears. But when I get to here and I just get my hip line, imagine I'm wearing a belt, he's wearing a belt, my belt is below his. Notice me squatting down naturally puts me into that neutral spine position. I'm here and I'm here. My butt's kind of sticking out because I'm trying to maintain that curl in that position in my lower half, so that when I just push back with my hips and I straighten out my knees, that lifts. I got you, man. I got you. Trust. This is a trust fall. So again, I'm here. I squat. And now I just push my knees back. Now I can lead you, right? You good? You good? I think another drill you can do is have your hands over your head. This is like a yoga thing here, right? You're pushing, doing that. Notice how when I squat with my hands over my head, it forces, you're gonna feel a lot of tightness here. It forces you to maintain that spine. You can't do this and squat like that. You're gonna have to stick your butt out and do this. Holding that like that. It's a good, feet together, do that too. It's a great stretch. A little more active. You get a bar or a belt. Let me grab a thing real quick. Always have weapons around your house. You could grab a broomstick or whatever and just go here over your head and just squat down like this. Notice how my butt's sticking out by default. I'm doing that here. You do that with your belt. You can do that with an elastic band. Always have your belt hanging somewhere for ease of access, and elastic band as well. So here, put your belt in half, same exact thing, down and up. And notice how you can start pushing. And you could even work on the mechanics of the throw with the belt. The reason why I like resistance band is it creates resistance in different angles, right? So if I'm going here, I have to actively push out. As I do that, if I go for my throw, I have to actively pull this, and that's gonna bring this here, and I go down. I get in the habit of going onto the ball of my feet at the peak of the throw. So if you're here, I dig my heels into the ground for the lift, and then the guy, think of it like a seesaw, the guy tips over and boom. You take him a little bit extra, right? So you go heels, toes, and you start adding a little slide to that, right? And that's why the straight jiao guys, they go into a roll. I'll do it here, where you're gonna go here, and you're gonna shoulder roll over the shoulder that you think you're lifting the guy. So you're going right, so it goes boom, right into your roll. And that develops the follow through for your throw. Cool.
I'm sure you remember everything. I'll just go through the details. Same side grab here. I'm gonna wrap around the waist here. So I'm gonna get perpendicular to him. We'll just go through the mechanics. My foot that's in front of him is gonna open up. That's gonna allow me to open up my hip. And that's gonna allow me to step all the way through here. My feet, it doesn't really matter if your feet are in between or on the outside. I usually, depending on what my lead leg does, it allows me to either step all the way through, or if my lead leg is way back here, I can still step here. But it's real more about getting my feet shoulder width apart so that my hip can peek out on this side. So my hip is actually covering his hip here. So whatever you need to do to get to that position. So if I step here and I cover and this foot's weight is dragging, I'm gonna reset that foot so that they're shoulder width apart. So I'm here, I can step in between, I step all the way through, then my hip follows my feet, and I'm there. I'm kind of sinking into position here. Now all I have to do is bring my hips back. That's gonna work out. So once I get to there, I'm pushing my hip back.
Go for the setup again. It was wrist and then.
Same side wrist, and then it's around the hip.
Okay.
And this thing, I'm not really pulling up, or I'm not really doing anything other than just making sure he doesn't escape away from me.
Okay, so like pulling him into you, like kind of just keeping it tight.
Yeah, I'm just kind of hooking.
Okay.
Because I'm just hooking so that I can kind of like bring myself to him and prevent him from walking me this way. If I go this way, he'll walk that way naturally.
Okay.
So I'm always going to be chasing. So once, with the gi, you'll grab the belt. With no gi, you're hooking the hip here. So I'm pulling in and pulling myself to him. And that kind of helps me fit in. My lead foot here actually rotates out once to allow me to sink in, because most of my toes are pointed this way. Even if I open up, my toes are still pointed like away from them. So when I get to here, it sinks into place. That was a good fit. See how it's kind of like you're pointing this way with me on your back already.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like a little
Well, I
spiral.
noticed the importance because of that one. I did adjust the foot a little bit more to face that way and that one, and then it's a big, make a difference. How's that?
That was good.
Yeah.
Great. So now, as you apply it, naturally I'm gonna start trying to move away. So you're gonna realize you're gonna be leading with your hip a lot. So
Leading with the hip. What do you mean?
so when you're here and you start going in, that's gonna happen. So yeah, you're gonna have to readjust.
Shuffle in.
Yeah. Leading with yeah.
Okay. So just naturally like kind of pulling in and just kind of shuffling to
Yeah.
get that foot in.
And then you're gonna discover that it becomes more of a spiral than it is facing the same direction. So if you start moving away, I'm spiraling.
Oh, sorry.
I'm spiraling like this.
Okay.
So I'm like trying to throw you back where you came from essentially. If you're going that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So here, start moving away. Yeah, exactly. Great. That motion is kind of like you're getting underneath them. So I'm gonna try to gain a little more distance. A little sooner. That's good. On that one, your hip was still trailing a little behind.
Okay.
So I was able to peek out a little bit.
Okay.
So in that case, if I feel your hip not covering me all the way, I'm just gonna put my foot down. So let's reset.
So if like let's say I'm not in.
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay. So that covering that hip really prevents you making that step.
Yeah, I can try to step here. I'm gonna lose it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're taking the ground away from me and you're making me taller than the length of my leg. That way I cannot like reestablish.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's funny because I think I was doing it before, but what really helps is almost like pushing off with that back leg.
Yeah.
Like shuffling, because instead of just going, but really sliding, shuffling in.
The solo drills for this, they do like a step, and then they're essentially leading with their hip. Notice how my body's like angled this way, so that when I turn, my hip pushes into the hip first.
Because that back step that you're doing really, that right there. Yeah.
Because that back steps in judo, and in general in martial arts, any cross step gains ground faster than doing this.
Right.
So if I cross step that way or cross step that way, that's gonna help me chase them a lot better.
And this one that you wouldn't want to cross step to the front, I guess?
Yeah, it's always to the back.
Okay. So yeah, but stability though, to, like being able to do it with stability at the same time.
Right.
Because generally, like if you're crossing, it's a.
The thing with that too is like if you're right here, you're relying on the fact that you're unstable so that you can continue the turn. Because there's no point where I'm sticking and trying to rotate. I'm actually going. My stick happens after my body already turns. So if I won't throw you hard, but if I go here and I hit you, let's see over here, I cross step. If I stop here, you're gonna be able to sit your hip back. Don't let me throw you.
Yeah.
So I need to stop there. So there's no moment where I'm waiting in this position here.
Gotcha.
It's just allowing me to turn, and I'm waiting here.
All right. So that's how you would do it, because you moved in instead of being perpendicular, you moved it at an angle. So this time it's a little. So if you're squared with me, or if you're going in a
Square. Because the reason why we teach it in this T stance, this perpendicular stance, is for self-defense. So let's say someone throws a haymaker here and I crash in, and I automatically get to here.
right.
But we're not throwing strikes when we practice at the school, so it's like everyone starts off here.
You're right.
Right.
So you would step in first with that lead leg.
Lead leg to gain some distance. Back leg so that you can start your rotation.
Okay.
So I can shoot through here and then get my back foot here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to corkscrew in with my hip and then lift you up as I turn and face the other direction.
Okay. Yeah, because I actually almost thought, I was like, he's stepping really like more to this side, so I was wondering how you were gonna get your hip, but it was when you started to untwine yourself was when.
Right.
Because I figured that if I was gonna hear that, I would have to step more here, so that way this one could go.
It's the idea of, when we're on the side, my hip has to chase your hip.
Right.
So when I enter straight and I corkscrew, my hip is corkscrewing out here.
Okay. So I would go here, and then step with the back.
Yep.
Like this.
And I'm like, yeah. See how we're turning? It's
Right.
You're not taking me directly behind you. You're taking me to a 45 degree.
Gotcha. So you step more like what? Like in line with this foot right here?
I would go dead center.
Go dead center. Like that? Or am I going, no, I'm not going past your leg, right? With this back leg?
No, you're trying to.
So I go like in line with this foot?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, let me get that hip approach. That one feels solid. What do you think?
That was great. One thing as a person getting thrown, and Gabe, this helps me too. I'm turning my hand this way, and the reason I'm doing that, it helps concave my body, so it's easier for him to lift me. So if you do it again, and I keep my arm up,
Oh, yeah.
it straightens out my spine, right?
Right.
So if I keep my arm down, it helps round me out. Same with the hip there. So,
What's
follow
that?
through. You didn't peek, you didn't
Oh,
go my
okay.
up yours. I think if you're taking it slow, it's harder to do that because you're like stopping in momentum. So go all the way and just lightly flipping onto the ground.
Was that better?
That was great.
That's the one. And yeah, I did that much easier than the last time. But I honestly really think that since you kind of showed me that drill to be able to do it,
Yeah.
it's really helped.
Good.
Because now I can feel that moment of getting the hit, but like when it's like that compression and then getting that lightness.
Yeah. I'm always thinking like I coil underneath them, and then I'm able to spring them over.
Right. It's like the center of my back is actually pushing.
Yeah. So we always think your belt line has to be under my belt line. So some people they throw by like shooting, like shorter people, they're gonna shoot their hip into the mid level of thigh. Imagine like baseball sliding or a schoolyard trip where you're just diving on someone's legs and they tumble over you.
Right.
The lower you get them, if it's too low, they can hop over it. But like around above the knee line, you're gonna hold them over, right? So like shorter people for this, they're actually gonna be down here and they're gonna push forward around the knee and get that over. See how it kind of swings
Yeah, it does. So they're using like kind of like their hips, the back of their hips to push in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's less of a lift to rotate over. It's more of a shooting through.
Well, I imagine too, if you're a taller person and you have to go against a shorter person, that's probably something you'd want to do too. I mean, the entry would have to be lower, but
Right.
just again, because their center of gravity is lower, so you probably have to go
Yeah.
to really, really sink low.
Generally speaking, taller people are going to lift the person onto their hip and then cut out the legs afterwards. So,
Right,
yeah.
right.